joined by head coach Seb Hines. Seb, just initial thoughts on the matchup this weekend against Portland Thorns.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an exciting game. Both teams ultimately need to win to put themselves in good positions to continue to move up the table. For ourselves, it's been a long time since we played at home in front of our own fans, so we're looking to put an exciting show on for them and come away with 3 points.
Austin, questions?
Seb, just with the way that standings are right now, obviously everything's very close. It's basically just kind of playoffs from here on in. How much is that kind of mentality from the last year and the year before that, where everything was very close, and even just the run of playoffs last year just kind of help in terms of kind of getting into that mentality before actual playoffs?
I think the situation we're in, we hold our own destiny right now. So we're obviously in the playoffs, playoff positions, and we want to hold on to that. The further up you finish in the table, the more incentives you have to stay at home, have that home field advantage. So we've still got a lot to play for. I think for ourselves, we got a terrific win away from home against San Diego. Obviously, it's a long trip with 3 games in 10 days. And I think anytime you get a point away from home is a positive. So right now, as it stands, we're 2 games unbeaten in NWSL. We've been fighting for a run of form, and we want to continue that momentum against a good Portland team. The way that we look at it is one step at a time. We've got to look at Portland, and then once we handle our business against them, then we can look at the upcoming games. But I mean, we want to go out there, put a show on. We want to come away with 3 points, and that will lead us into a good week going into the Pachuca game and Washington away.
Kind of going off of that with the Pachuca game looming, the separate competition, knowing that, again, it's a must-win game for you guys. Just how much do you kind of focus just on this game and take it one game at a time versus getting ahead of yourselves and knowing there's multiple games ahead of you that are must-wins essentially?
Yeah, I mean, you take one step at a time. So focus right now is on Portland. Obviously, my job back in my mind is obviously Pachuca, but I want the players to start focusing on Portland and what we need to do to get 3 points against Portland this Friday.
I guess kind of going back to your point of being at home and not having been at home for a while now, just how good is it mentally just for the players to kind of sleep in their own beds and have that comfortability of not having to travel for 10 days straight?
It's not just that. Obviously, that plays a part of it, but just being in your own fans and allowing them to be the 12th player and pushing us on. We want to make Inter and Co Stadium a fortress again, make it intimidating for the opponent. Be relentless at all times. And so we need to get back to that. The last couple of games, teams have felt like they could come away with something, and that's not how we want it to be. We want it to be, really tough place to go play, and so we need to get back into that.
Over the course of the season, I think one of the key words that you've mentioned a lot is fine margins. Just kind of within the course of this season, how much have you felt that this team has kind of fluctuated, I guess, and especially the second part of the season kind of adjusted with some of those fine margins, especially in these last couple games?
Yeah, I do think we've evolved from last year, and obviously results won't show that because we had an incredible year last year. But I think in terms of a team and how we want to play and how we conduct ourselves on the field, I think there has been an evolution of this team. I do think we've created more chances than we did last year. I do think it has come down to those margins of whether we're getting the final touch or the defender's getting, the final touch, and, we're inches away from it being a goal. But we want to reward ourselves by all the good play that we've been doing, even defensively, not giving teams too many opportunities to score. and so we just have to continue the process. We have to continue the upward trajectory that we started back in, 2023. And if we continue this process, we will be winning more games, moving up the table, feeling more confident going into each and every game.
Lastly, with Portland, so you played them in Portland earlier in the year. What have you kind of seen from their growth over the course of this season? What are you kind of expecting from them this week?
Yeah, it's always a tough game against Portland. They're one of the biggest teams, the most successful team in NWSL. I think they've gone through some turnaround with players and stuff, and they've got a young team that have contributed really well this year with some quality players that we have to be mindful of. We can't afford to give any free kicks in and around the box because Moultrie's, she's converting them. So we have to be aware of players like Moultrie, Sam Coffey, those type of players. But the real focus is on ourselves and how we can go into this game knowing that if we stick to the game plan and we have the right attitude, that we can come away with 3 points.